Welcome. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show, episode 74, November 24th, 2018. I want to lead off. I've just been looking at Donald Trump's Twitter feed. Oh, the Donald. He is very busy. Even though he's on Thanksgiving break down in Mar-a-Lago, he's very busy, very active on Twitter, sending out Thanksgiving videos. Going to visit military. He's very busy, very active. We are really getting our money's worth out of this guy. This is awesome. He retweeted the picture of the border, a border wall down the ocean area fence, and it's got massive amount of seawater, sea wire, and barbed wire on it. I mean, it's about 20 feet tall. It's just razor wire, loops of razor wire after razor wire. That's kind of hard to say. Oh, just amazing. Yeah, they're not getting over that. And I've been looking at the amount of likes that he has on Twitter. That has 162,000 likes. And then he talks about Steve Mnuchin, who's doing a good job, 70,000 likes, not so great. Then he talks about bipartisan support, working with Mitch McConnell and Senator Schumer on criminal justice reform. Well, some people like that and some people don't. Only 63,000. Not a big, huge response there. And on the same day, November 23rd, yesterday, he tweeted out, Republicans and Democrats must, all caps, come together finally with a major border security package, which will include funding for the wall. After 40 years of talk, it is finally time for action. Fix the border for once and for all. Now, all caps. That has double the response than the bipartisan criminal justice reform. 143,000. I mean, the Donald really, a big part of his election, his campaign message was build the wall. Strong immigration laws, strong protection of that southern border. And people, I think many Americans who voted for Donald are just tired of us being this feeling of being overrun by the immigrants. And, I don't think we're being totally overrun by that, but all of this immigration, this illegal aliens, it's not really even immigration, all the people illegally coming into our country or staying here illegally, it's really affecting our politics. And I think the Donald was right about this. He read the pulse of the nation, and he does know that we're becoming like Europe. I mean, Angela Merkel is totally just admitting to this unchecked, unfettered people moving into the country who don't want to participate in the German culture and the German economy or become Germans. And we're having, here in the United States, we're getting lots of illegal immigrants, and most of them vote Democrats. So the Democrat Party has just been identity politics, just reaching out to them and supporting them, and in supporting the illegal immigrants. You could see the after the elections last month, or this month actually, you can see the southern border of Texas. I mean, it's all in southern border of Arizona. It's all Democrat now. So all of these illegal aliens, all these people voting, even these immigrants, or been here, especially the Latinos, vote Democrat. So you can see how this has really been politicized. Immigration policies have been totally politicized. The Democrats just know that they can make these people citizens, or who knows, illegal voting, I'm sure, is not a huge problem, but part of the problem. Then the Democrats are getting a lot of support from the Latinos here, and other immigrants, and other illegal aliens. And then the Republicans in the past have supported illegal immigration also because they love all the cheap labor and how that, they feel like that helps the economy. It does help businesses possibly, but it is going to hurt the other Americans who are already here for those jobs. So looking at the other tweets, the Donald talks about the Ninth Circuit Court and what a joke this is. He went up against John Roberts with that. And then he's trolling here. Only 85,000 likes, but that's pretty good. And he said, this is the coldest weather in the history of Thanksgiving Day parade in New York City, and one of the coldest Thanksgivings on record. Of course, he's down in Florida. But I love how he's trolling on that. Yeah, he says, brutal and extended cold blast should shatter all records. Whatever happened to global warming? He's got 110,000 likes on that. And then he's got 163,000 likes on this. You just can't win with the fake news media. Big story today is that because I have pushed so hard and gotten gas prices so low, more people are driving and have caused traffic jams throughout our great nation. Sorry, everyone. Oh, I mean, what a joke. I was listening to NPR yesterday and that bipartisan support and how Donald is trying to reach out to the Democrats here. NPR is just going after him for that. It goes, oh, just a few months ago, he didn't want to do any bipartisan support, and now he does. I mean, they're just so on this guy. It's just negative. I guess what studies showed, 93% of the media is so negative on Donald Trump. That is the fake news. That is the enemy of the people. I mean, this complete biased reporting going after the Donald, I mean, he gets people like us very riled. I mean, it really upsets conservatives. I mean, it's just not fair. Even Jimmy Carter said so. So the Donald on Twitter is just a blast. I encourage you guys to follow him on Twitter. You really could read inside his mind. There are typos in his tweets because this guy just shoots him right off. I love it. He's very transparent. I wanted to mention the Khashoggi thing once again. I mean, it's so amazing. You know, the left will just not let this die. I like Greg Gutfeld. He has an opinion post from the 5 on Fox News. And Fox News. This is basically, I think this was his monologue, lead off. You know, like, you know, so did the prince kill Khashoggi? So the question, and then maybe he did, maybe he didn't. That's from Trump, causing today's hair-burning media freakout, which happens whenever Trump tells the blunt truth about a policy we are okay with before him. So now you're mad over the Saudis. After decades of human rights abuses, terror enablement, this is what gets your goat. According to Ben Rhodes in 2009, I'm quoting from Greg Gutfeld here, when Obama went to Riyadh, the Saudi king gave each staffer a pile of jewels. At the first couple, 100,000 pounds worth of baubles, which were accepted, they were sent to the National Archives. That beats a washer and dryer on The Price is Right. But even back then, we knew Saudi Arabia, they were different, but they were allies, and allies can suck. So maybe the boss's son had Khashoggi offed, or maybe not. Which is it? Think hard. It's a card game. If you say the prince is guilty, you're committing poker suicide by folding, by holding all the best cards. Sure, playing your moral ace might please the media, but winning their approval wins America nothing. It's just wasted a great opportunity. But hold off and say, maybe, maybe not, and you come out ahead. And the pot you want to win impacts your country's happiness. If you spent your life playing this game, keeping your cards close and waiting, you know America has the Saudis over a barrel, millions of barrels really, and in negotiation, that means you can get something big from them that you couldn't get before. Like what? Middle East progress, a chance at peace for Palestine and Israel, the ability to influence oil prices, who knows? For sure, it'll be more than a pile of dumb jewels. I mean, Greg Gutfeld is so right about this. The Donald, who knows what the Donald is doing privately with Saudi Arabia? But he's not beating them up with the media, okay? I mean, Lindsey Graham is, Rand Paul is, okay? Yeah. Okay, so what? The media is beating up Trump? Trump is bold. He's strong. He can take it. So what if the media doesn't like him? Donald is okay with that. So, yes, Saudi Arabia, come on, I've said over and over, I mean, this country, they chop people's fingers off, they put gay people in bags and roll them down hills until they're dead. I mean, this is terrible. This country is not a human rights model of decency. We know this. But we have used Saudi Arabia. We've gotten lots of oil from them, which has been good. And now that we're producing more oil than they are, we still are using them politically to go after Iran and to support Israel. So That's what we get out of the deal. And plus much more. We sell a lot of military stuff to them. They're fighting a proxy war in Yemen. This is not, we have no idea the closed door negotiations going on with Saudi Arabia. So the media just goes berserk on this, on the left and on the right. I think it's such a joke. I like how Michael Knowles said, who really cares about this Islamist, Muslim Brotherhood supporter, Iran supporter guy, enemy to Saudi Arabia, and they kill their enemy. So, yes, no one's going to disagree that just luring some guy into an embassy was really good. But, who knows? I think there's a lot to this story that we don't know. And I think it's ironic how the media doesn't give Donald any slack at all. They go after him tooth and nail. Speaking of that, so there's a Fox News story of this 100 group of migrants, carrying white flags, La Paz y Dios, peace and God. They separated near the Southern California and apparently were within 500 feet of the wall. The migrants said they are carrying the white flags to show they are peaceful and will attempt to present themselves as asylum seekers. I mean, why didn't they just go to asylum places in Honduras or Mexico? I mean, I think they know that they have no chance of getting asylum because these people don't want asylum. They just want to come here to work. They just want to get in here to work. They want to cut in line and get in here to work. I say get in line, go home. And if you want to file for asylum, there are United States embassies in Honduras, in Guatemala, in Mexico, a bunch of them. So no, this is just a lie. It's just a complete lie that they want asylum. And I think Donald is so awesome in calling him out on this. It's just a joke. Donald tweeted on the 21st, "There are a lot of criminals in the caravan. We will stop them, catch and detain. Justice," instead of catch and release, catch and detain. "Judicial activism by people who know nothing about security and the safety of our citizens is putting our country in great danger. Not good." I just read an article yesterday. These Middle Easterners are using our southern border to transport drugs, guns, sneak people in. I mean, this is incredible. We've got security concerns here. I don't want to overblow it, but we do have security concerns. And believe me, if we have some kind of major attack and they came in through the southern border, things will be different. It's just like people learning how to be pilots and getting their pilot's license. And they were doing that in Florida, the 9/11 attackers. Oh my. So after the event, we really increased our security of something like that. It's always afterwards, but we need to be preventative. I think Donald is doing this right. A wall is so much cheaper than just having, people down there all the time. A better wall, it's not going to prevent everyone from getting in. We know people illegally can get around this thing, but it will stop a lot of people, and it'll send a strong message to these people who are far away who want to come here. If they know Donald's not letting anyone, fewer people will come and try to sneak in. We'll raise the prices for the coyotes, make it harder. This is just a human rights disaster. The left will not talk about all the people who are raped, killed, or beaten up, or robbed from the coyotes themselves as they try to get across the southern border of the United States. Real joke. I hope the Democrats that demonize Donald so much now, how they're going to work with him, who knows? But I hope we can build a better security, have better security, and really, really curtail this illegal immigration. I love it. Donald has threatened to shut down the whole border with Mexico if immigration becomes uncontrollable. This is exactly right. Exactly right. This is great. The Donald is being strong here. There's a Fox News, a Gallup poll out. American views of top issues facing the U.S. Immigration, illegal aliens is 21%. Dissatisfaction with government, 18%, 11% with health care. So you see amongst the Democrats, supposedly their number one concern is health care because they want free health care. Okay, they want socialized medicine. Many of them do. And immigration is down on their list. But amongst Republicans, it's immigration, the wall. And that's Donald's biggest applause line during the 2016 campaign. Oh, you got race relations, racism, 9%. I mean, what a joke. What an absolute racism. Even Obama said that, well, he used to. Now he's just going off blaming climate change on racism and bigotry and lack of mothers. Oh, he's really gone off the deep end. But anyhow, he's always been there. He's just more open about it. 9% racism. There is just such little racism, and the only racism is in the left. They hate anybody with who disagrees with them. I saw a bumper sticker yesterday. It was a silhouette of the Donald with his big hairdo, and it said, "Stop bigotry." I mean, the Donald is not a bigot. He's not a bigot. People ask me, "Oh, Donald's how can you support Donald? He's such a bigot." He's not a bigot. He doesn't hate other people. Ridiculous. No, the left is full of hate, not the right. Give me a break. It's interesting. I saw this little article on the VA hospitals, and they're blaming their delayed payments that they're getting. They're paying the veterans. They had delayed payments because of aging computer system, 50-year-old computer system. Good grief, lots of excuses. I really think we should privatize the Veterans Affairs Administration. Privatize it. I think our veterans would get lots better care. And then those people who work for all those VA hospitals, we could take good care of them and transition them into the private sector. Oh, we can do it. It'd be great. Everyone would benefit from that. This is just a fascinating article that a friend sent me on Beijing residents, what China's doing. Their plan is to monitor behavior of every resident by the end of 2020. This is a Breitbart article. Beijing announced an action plan this week for monitoring residents' behavior, adding that the city expects to have its social credit system fully implemented by the end of 2020. Oh, do you want the United States to have a special social credit system? Good grief. I think the left would like this. So the China capital city will have all residents officially locked into the permanent surveillance program, part of a broader effort to have every Chinese citizen rated on a social credit system, decreeing what public service a person can use based on their obedience to laws and loyalty to the communist regime. The government will use the data collected to assess citizens' behavior to decide if an individual is law-abiding and trustworthy to the Communist Party. It's funny, I'm shopping for a car, and I was test driving cars. I love cars, test driving a bunch of cars yesterday. I test drove a Volvo, and I did ask the salesman, who owns Volvo now? I knew I wanted him to buy. Because when you test drive this Volvo, there's little Swedish flags all over it. They want you to think it's Sweden. Oh, no, but it's owned by a Chinese company. And I'm like, oh, gosh. I don't really want to buy a Volvo and support the Chinese. I mean, and then my friends might think I'm a bigot, right? And because Republicans are bigots. No, it's the Chinese. They're a national threat. This is geopolitical politics here. So pretty sad to buy a Volvo and support the Chinese people. No, I really do think the Chinese are a threat to the United States and the Russians militarily. I think we need to keep a close eye on these guys, and we need to be ready for trouble. And look what they do to their citizens. I mean, where is that? This story is buried. I mean, it's at Breitbart. You think CNN is going to run this story? Now, to give the New York Times, switching gears here, credit, they did run this story. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They did. They ran this story, but it was back in 1997. I mean, would you think the New York Times would run this story now? This is a guy who was killed, and he was killed in the West Bank. He was a Palestinian living in that area, like a refugee guy. He was a realtor, and he sold some land to the Jews, and so they killed him. It looked like the Palestinian Authority killed this guy. And because you're not allowed to sell land to the Jews. Okay. And so, no. The guy had and then the religious leaders in that Palestinian region, those Muslim leaders declared a fatwa, on anyone who sells land to the Jews. I mean, can you understand why there's no peace between Israel and these other guys around them? Those other Muslim people, they hate Israel. They hate Jews. They are the enemy. They say that over. They are the sworn enemy. There's no reconciliation going on here with the Palestinian leadership. I mean, these Arabs do not want to deal with the Jews there in Israel. No, they hate them. They're the enemies. I mean, it's really bad. And speaking of bad, Airbnb, oh yeah, they're going to get super political, and they delisted these sites for some people who were trying to rent out places on the West Bank. Oh no, yeah, Airbnb just knocked them off. And now there's a class action lawsuit against Airbnb in the Jerusalem District Court on Thursday to protest the U.S.-based company's decision to drop listings in West Bank settlements from its vacation rental website that hosts ads from 191 countries. The law in Israel forbids discrimination based on the place where you live, and what Airbnb has done is by all means discrimination based on the place where you live. Okay, that's the lawsuit. Good. I mean, Airbnb, oh, good grief. They're going to get political. Oh, this is just so sad. Oh, these tech companies, and they just want to get super political. It's so annoying. It's ridiculous. No freedom of liberty and speech there. Speaking of that, I saw on Facebook, Rush Limbaugh was talking about, maybe he can run for politics now. I mean, I always wondered why he wouldn't do it. He would complain on air that it'd just be such a joke. And I think really, I mean, after Donald, I think Rush is getting some courage here. I mean, the Donald's family life hasn't been the best with 3 marriages. He's had some problems there a little bit. We all have problems, but he was able to be president of the United States, even though he doesn't come from this perfect little family, So Rush he's been married a few times, and he's not a big family man. I don't think he has any children. He doesn't really fit this prototype of politician with his wife at his side and his kids and, this spotless life. I mean, we all know this is all fake for the most part, but this appearance. And so I think that has discouraged Rush. And so he is getting some encouragement now to go into politics, which I think is just amazing. Okay, I encourage everyone to try to be the best that they can be, to be good, to do good things, to not do bad things, of course, to be morally strong. Okay, I really encourage that. A good Christian life, keeping the commandments, whatever faith you might be, trying to do what God wants you to do, to be good and kind, to get married, to have children, to be good people. Yes, totally awesome. And politically, I think that helps. I mean, Mike Pence, from my point of view, it's hard to judge him, but just from his images, he's a good Christian man. And yes, I even have a friend his wife is really good friends with Mike Pence's wife and told me he was a great guy. So anyhow, I think that's all great, but it's cool that Rush Limbaugh, someone like him that hasn't had that type of life, can get involved politically. I love it. It's the issues really that really matters, and to try to be to implement those issues, to be honest with the voters. And boy, the Donald is so honest. I just love that. They give him such a hard time. He gets enthusiastic. He gets bombastic. He's prone to selling his things really hard with some exaggeration. It reminds me of my dad, who was in advertising, would do the same thing. But anyhow, the Donald is doing such a great job. I'm really grateful. Really thankful in this Thanksgiving weekend for the many blessings we enjoy for being living in the United States, and for these huge blessings of this country of freedom and liberty. Even though they're slipping away, fighting for freedom and liberty is such a noble thing. I'm so grateful for the people in the armed services who defend our country, and for the men and women in blue who protect us. What a great country. It's great. I wanted to close with a quote from the scriptures in Matthew. And when this is Matthew chapter 14, verse 15. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals." I'm not quite sure how you say that. Food. But Jesus said unto them, "They need not depart. Give ye them to eat." And they said unto him, "We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, "Bring them hither to me." And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and take the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat and were filled. And they took up of the fragments that remained 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Oh, what a great scripture to think of the blessings, and to be thankful for the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and for the blessings he gives us. Notice how the people, they gave their all, right? The 2 fishes and the 5 loaves, they gave all their food to him. And then Jesus multiplied that. That's what he can do in our lives. He can multiply what we bring to the table. His goodness, and through his power, he can bless us with so much, like he has blessed this country. And how he'll bless any country when we do what is right. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe at iTunes and SoundCloud. You can watch the video on YouTube. My website is philkoerper.com. This is Philip Koerper, and this is the Philip Koerper Show. Copyright 2018. Have a happy Thanksgiving.